to say thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to come and celebrate with me and with us. As many of you know, this has been quite the journey, really starting about 10 or 11 years ago with some things on scraps of paper, little notes and reflections, and then began to share those with family and friends, and then some invitations to write a book. A few years went by, and then began to dive into it about 3 years ago, and when you think you're almost there, you're still about a year away, and so it's been quite the journey. But it's also a reflection of a journey of love for me, in terms of my relationship with my daughters, my relationship with my wife, and the journey that so many of you know in your own ways, in terms of not just parenting, but in terms of living life. So those of you who have looked at the book, it's really designed to be a series of reflections. So you can read it from cover to cover, but I think it actually works best to kind of keep it next to the toilet or next to the bedstand, or maybe that's the proper way to say it. And kind of refer to it from time to time. The other thing that's here is I really want to invite you. I know some of you are already doing it. There's probably about a half dozen different communities that are represented here, and they're all wonderful communities. So my invitation is, I know you're naturally going to connect with people that you know in your own communities, like the people you recognize, and that's great. But also take a moment to say hello to some other people here, because there's really wonderful people here that I know from all over the place. So just, make a point to meet 2 or 3 people who you don't know and say hello. I also want to thank the First Parish Church for making the room available. And then the theme of this community is one of being welcoming and accepting. And so I want to create that space here for everybody that's here. So again, thank you for being here. What else? So what I want to do is just take a moment and do a little something. I mean, you can kind of mingle and stuff, but I actually wanted to see if any of you who have a book or are looking over the shoulder of someone with a book, if there's any of these that you would like me to actually read and then kind of briefly discuss like where they came from. Because everything in here comes out of an experience that I had in the process of, and this, I think most of you know, this is the first of 3 books. This is actually, I had so many reflections and insights that I ended up doing one that was just the preschool years, up to age 5, and that's what this is. And there's 2 more that are going to be coming out over the course of the next year to year and a half. But anybody, I just want to, I'm taking invitations from the crowd now, so if you have one that has jumped out at you that you'd like me to read. What's that?
No, I'm kidding.
Well, that could be a good one.
42, I don't know.
42 is good.
It's like the universe and everything.
So there are some page numbers, but they're not on every page, so it's tricky. You know what you can... This is on page 41. So Marnie has requested this story. If you don't have a book, you can pick one up, and even if you're not buying one, I don't care. If you want to pick one up and look at it, you're welcome to, or you can just listen. It's a bit of a stretch for me to, even though I write and I do stuff, reading publicly is still a little bit of a stretch for me, but so this one's called Not Loving Teddy Bears Anymore. And I remember this quite vividly. Yesterday, Sophia Grace had her teddy bear snatched away by her younger sister. When Brianna wouldn't give it back, in great upset, Sophia Grace yelled, "I'm not going to love teddy bears anymore." I think you can actually think of your own life when you can kind of... In that moment, I saw how I, too, have shut down my heart and limited what I want or dream for, so as to avoid the hurt and disappointment of having it snatched away. What does it take, once we've been hurt, to open our heart again? What does it take, once we reach for the stars and fallen to earth, to dream again?
Nice.
So that is Not Loving Teddy Bears Anymore. So that absolutely is a true story, and a lot of the reflections, the insights in here will often end in a question instead of an answer. Because I oftentimes believe that the question invites more, and that the question remains unanswered or offers more answers to come forward. So you know, I say that this is not a book that's a how-to book about parenting or life, please, you know, don't put me in that category. But it is designed to create some, you know, some reflection and hopefully invite forward some of your own answers actually as you read it. So maybe we'll take one more and then I'll stop boring you with this and let you get back to mingling. So anybody else have one that they see in here that they would like me to read and reflect upon?
Believe it.
Believing in Santa.
Yeah, I was
So
thinking
Mike,
of that,
I'd
but
like
it's
to just add that Brianna and I were reading that on Wednesday night, and she looks at me and she goes, "You know I gave her back her teddy bear." So because Bree's not here, I just had to say that. I love it.
I feel kind of vulnerable because you know, especially the girls are now getting older, so like when they're included in stories, it's kind of like, I mean, I already embarrass them anytime I do anything at this point in their life. So
It doesn't stop.
Reading is a highlight of embarrassment.
yeah, so let me read. Let's see, where is that one? Believing in Santa. Here we go.
65.
65. Thank you. Okay. My sister was visiting recently and asked Sophia Grace what she wanted for Christmas. Diamonds, Sophia Grace said. Diamonds. Diamonds. Those are kind of expensive, aren't they? My sister replied. To which Sophia Grace countered, innocently indignant. Not for Santa Claus. If I knew there was someone who could deliver on whatever dream I might have, no matter how grand or unreasonable, what would I ask for? And in the space of that absolute believing, like the certainty demonstrated by my daughter, the thing I asked for might well be delivered to me because there would be no doubt in the way to block it. Just as Sophia Grace's diamonds were on Christmas morning. So.